Hello everybody, welcome to the first devlog of HoboWars. This is the actual first one. The previous one was just me explaining it. That's why it was called number 0, obviously. So this one is going to actually show my progress so far on what I've done this week. And so we're going to go through all the days and show off what I did, and I'll just comment on what I did and how I did it. Also, do you like my image? It's amazing! I started off right away and I got all the code from my tutorial series and I started transferring over, and then I realized that the code from my tutorial series is actually really bad, and so I actually scrapped it all and I started making a new system. And so with this new system, it's actually much better for memory usage and much better for, just actually being able to use it. And so after formatting my project, I went right into adding all the features. So I added the window and input because that was the easiest, and then I went right into rendering, where I added some basic rendering stuff, and then I went on to add shaders, first of all through color, and then actually adding textures. And I actually want to comment on this because instead of using STB or slick utils, I actually used Java's built-in buffered image, and I just manipulated the pixels there, and I put that into a buffer, and then I sent that buffer to the OpenGL pipeline, which I think is a much better thing. And you can also use that to create your own textures in the code, and that's how I did the colors. I just created a texture and then I just plugged that into the actual texture ID. And so after I got this done, I went on to add transformations, which I first had to add a projection matrix. And so instead of using the 3D perspective matrix, I actually went with an orthogonal camera, because if you didn't know this, it's going to be a 2D game. I scrapped the 3D part. So this is going to be a 2D game, and so orthogonal is basically where you have a box where you can look straight on, and no matter what the distance is, they all look the same size, of course, if they're the same size. Another thing here is it's working, but it's just so small, and it's only 2 pixels in the middle. So there's no horizon, or there's no distance being able to see. So it's basically like looking straight on at anything, and perspective doesn't matter. Here's a diagram showing you real quick. And anyways, I added that into there, and then I actually had to add 2D transformations because my original tutorial series only had 3D, so I just went in and added 2D. And okay, let's try to run this, see what happens. And okay, I mean, it's beautiful, sorta. I guess, but not right. Got that working. After I got the basic 2D graphical stuff down, I started to do the little things, like being able to resize the window and it'll keep its aspect ratio. Because when you're developing things, all these little tiny things begin to, add up, and then when you develop it too far, it's too late. Next, I added a camera system, which for my game really won't be as important, but every single 2D thing now needs a camera, or any rendering thing needs a camera so you can move around the scene. And so you can rotate the camera as well. And so this actually becomes more apparent. It just looks like I'm moving around the smiley face, but it actually becomes more apparent when I get 2 models in here, so you can see it's actually moving the entire world around. So I just added this blue square to signify that, and as you can see, it moves around the world and just moving around. Yeah. Whee! Woo! Watch this. I'm going to do full 360 in a minute. Ready? 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 Woo! Anyways, so yeah, just added that basic camera movement. It probably won't be helpful, but yeah. So one of the things I wanted to do for this game is to make a game manager or a game state system. And so, of course, there's going to be some benefits and some good things that come from this, and I'm actually going to explain why I chose this. So, to start off a game, you're probably going to have this simple system where you have the main thread, and you just add a bunch of stuff onto it, and that's about it. So, of course, that's good for small projects, but when you want to get into bigger projects, that system is probably just going to get just over complicated and disorganized real quick. So I decided to add this game manager system, as you can see here, and so there I can actually add content or stuff to each level, and I know where it is and I know how to get to it because it's in a row. As you can see, the red level is the first one, and so I know that's index 0, so I can say game manager switch it to index 0 and it will switch it to 0 and it will run with no problem. And so that's much better than the main because it's more organized, and more organized means that it can run more efficiently. So as you can see, comparing these two, the first one's quick and easy, but the second one's better in the long haul, and so I'll show you. So say you want to add more content to the first level. As you can see, if I do that for the game manager system, I could just, it's in index 0, place it in there because I of course created each and every single one. With the first one, with the main implementation, you really don't know where to exactly put it because it's all just a big jumble of code. It's not really just a big jumble of code. It really is just like where all your main code is stored, how the game is run, and where all your rendering updated code is coming from. And so this game manager system is much better for the long haul, like I said. So as an example here, I created a system to where you can switch between two different rendering. One was the original smiley face, and one is the big old red square, and you can switch back and forth between them, showing off the game manager. Afterward, I actually developed a sprite system, so instead of using OpenGL's stupid world coordinates, I can actually use the pixel measurements in most graphical libraries. So as you can see, I'm just setting the mouse to the sprite. After developing all that, I think it was time to actually make my first game in this engine. So, like anyone, I'd made Pong, which is basically a hello world for games, basically, because it's so easy to develop. All you need is graphics and input. And so I got that quickly running, and as you can see, it's actually, being responsive. Got AI, sort of, but it's worked out pretty well. I also got icons and cursors working if you look in the top left. After getting Pong done, I implemented a simple audio system so I could play, simple audios like
test
and
test.
So basically,
Test.
this was just my test to see if this would even work or not. Yeah, OBS is not having a fun time with this one. In the final couple days of this week, I didn't really have that much time to develop anything, but I did add a few small things like transparency and being able to make sprites invisible. And so as you can see in this demo, if I press A, I can make the background sprite invisible, and yeah, so I can just toggle that on and off, and also the blending. So this is it for this week's devlog. This was actually a really fun thing to do, and I actually really enjoyed it, and this is probably going to be a great game. So anyways, I'm just going to end it off here. I don't have any Patreon supporters. I feel like I have to do that because every other devlog, and this is my top Patreon supporters for the month, but I don't have Patreon, and I probably never will because I don't want to beg people for money. Anyways, this required a lot of editing, and so I'm just going to stop it here.